Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/IDontWorkHereLady. Today we have 4 more great news stories waiting for us, so sit comfortably and let's get started. Our first story. I don't work here, lady. I don't work anywhere. I've lurked this sub for a while, but have never posted until today. I was laid off from my software development job about 2 months ago, and my job was sent overseas. Call your congressperson about H-1B reform. My wife is a 3-day-a-week high school teacher, and our little boy goes to preschool those same 3 days a week. However, since I was laid off, my wife has been substitute teaching the other 2 days a week, and I've been watching our son Tuesdays and Thursdays until I find a new job. Even just 2 weeks into the school year, my wife has substituted each available day. One of the things my son and I have done for entertainment on our days together is visiting the indoor pool at our YMCA, where I've been teaching him to swim. Today, after he was done with putting up with my swimming instruction, he grabbed his dive rings and just started flinging them into the pool and swimming after them. This is normal. I get about 20 minutes of half-effort swim lessons with him, then I let him play as I watch from arm's length away or so. Enter into the story now, Swim Lesson Mom, SLM, and her kids. One that's suited up for the pool, and the other is an infant that she's carrying poolside. A little after 10 a.m., SLM is yelling to someone, "Hey, it's my kid's time!" I didn't suspect that she was yelling at me, and I didn't pay any attention as she walked as close as she could behind and kicks water at me, splashing my back. "Hey, dummy, it's my kid's swim lesson time." What? You heard me, it's after 10. My kid's lesson time starts at 10, and you're just watching that kid splash around. Get him out and get to my son's lesson. Honestly, what am I even paying for? What? Yeah, I'm a bright one. It's my kid's lesson time. You were late last week for my son's lesson, and now this week you're just going to ignore me? What are you talking about? I don't teach swim lessons. Bullcrap! I saw you teaching that little bastard. You calling me a liar? That's pretty rough language for a YMCA, and now we've got the head lifeguard's attention. So I tell her, F off, that's my son, leave us alone. Look at me with the snappy comeback. The head lifeguard's now standing next to SLM, asking her to tone down her language or he's removing her from the facility. Her baby's now crying and her son's hiding under his towel on a bench behind her. I'm paying this guy $30 a lesson for private lessons and he told me to F off? Where's the pool manager? I don't know the private lesson situation here. She can work that out with the pool manager. I try to move away from this and take my son out of sight as I'm about to walk him up to the pool stairs. In walks a guy about my build and my hair color, but about 20 years younger. Let's call him private swim instructor. So he walks over to where the head lifeguard and SLM are about to walk into the pool office, and I hear something like, "Sorry I'm late again. Getting out of the college parking lot's a mess. Maybe we need to schedule your son's lesson to start a little later." The head lifeguard says, "You're the private instructor?" He says, "Yeah." The head lifeguard's now standing next to the pool manager and says to SLM, "Well then who's that guy?" Pointing at me. She was speechless. I'm the guy she called dumb because I wouldn't teach her son's swim lessons. The private swim instructor says, "I'm your son's instructor." Total awkward silence. Me to the pool manager. "Yeah, Harold, I don't want to see people talking that way around my kid." More awkward silence. "I think you should make them leave." The pool manager says, "Step into my office, ma'am." I find out from Harold later they were not YMCA members and were paying the non-member rate for lessons. She was asked not to return for 2 weeks and left quietly. Excuse me? Hey, you! Don't you work here? I've never made a Reddit account before, and I've just anonymously read posts. But this happened recently, and I finally have something interesting to share. ED is entitled Dad, EB is entitled Brad. For context, I'm trans, FTM, female to male, and have just recently come out to my family. Before this, my clothes were tomboyish, but I never dared to buy something from the boys section for fear of what people might think. I cut my hair a few months back, and I think I passed pretty well. This story happens in a clothes store where I'm finally able to buy clothes in the boys section. If you know me, you know I hate clothes shopping and just shopping in general, so I plan to get in and out as quickly as possible. The uniform here is a gray polo shirt, black trousers, and smart black shoes. I'm wearing a camo hoodie with black joggers and dirty black trainers, looking nothing like an employee and evidently not an adult. Going up the escalator, I noticed there are two people in the section I'm about to go into, ED and EB. As someone with social anxiety, having people there makes me anxious, but I remind myself that they're just here to shop and they'll just mind their own business. Or so I thought. ED talking to EB. What size are you? You need this shirt. EB. How am I supposed to know? I just want to get out of here and go to McDonald's. ED. You have to know. He takes several sizes from the rack. We're going to the changing room and you're trying these on. They leave, I hope for good, and I take a look at the racks and find a shirt that I like and some shorts. I measure the shirt up against me, trying to find a size that fits. I see them come back, but just ignore them as I'm not in anyone's way and I don't want to deal with entitled people today. ED frustratedly shoves the shirts back and in a raised tone says, "Excuse me, girl?" I doubt he's talking to me since I'm not a girl and I obviously don't work here. He's probably just harassing some poor employee. Little did I know I was the poor employee. Again, louder. Hey you, do you work here? I again ignore him since I do not work here. EB runs over to me and grabs my arm. I'm obviously removing my arm from him, not wanting his germs on me, and he just glares. You work here, so do your job and help us. I freeze and just stare at them. Are you even listening to me? Are you deaf? I don't get why they hire people like you. I'm sorry, but I don't work here, and no, I'm not deaf. His face changes a little into sort of a oh crap expression, but still continues. Well, if you don't work here, why are you in the boys section? I was confused for a second, but then it hit me. My heart sank. I felt like crap. I am a boy, and I'm too young to work here. I'm just a customer. But I can help you find an employee to help you. He stares at me for a second, looks me up and down, then without any apology, just walks off with his son. Safe to say I got out of there as fast as I could and felt uncomfortable and dysphoric for the rest of the day. But I did find a nice shirt, which I guess is a bonus. Karen thinks my sons are yard workers. We're a mostly Hispanic family that lives in a modest middle-class neighborhood. Our teenage sons maintain our lawn and also our neighbor's lawn. She's a single mom and an ER nurse and appreciates the help. The cast is Karen, my older son who's 19, my younger son who's 17, me and my husband, plus some bonus characters at the end. My sons had noticed a few times that there was a woman in a silver Lexus that rolled past our house a few times when they'd been out there. She basically just pulled up in front of the house and idled in the middle of the street staring. Finally, one evening, she worked up the nerve to roll down the window to speak with them. Karen says, "Hello, I saw you boys doing the yards and wondered if you could do mine too." "Possibly. Where do you live?" "I live 3 miles away in a much more expensive neighborhood." "Oh no, I'm sorry ma'am, we don't have a truck and the lawn equipment won't fit in my car." "Okay, thanks, no problem, bye." So a couple weeks later, Karen rolls up again. "Hello, I saw you boys doing the yards and wondered if you could do mine too." "I'm sorry ma'am, but like we told you last time, we don't have any way to transport our lawn equipment. Also, this really isn't a business, we just do it in our spare time to help out." "Well, how do you get it all here?" "We live here, and we do our neighbor's yard as a favor." "You live here? Let me speak to your master." "Do you mean our parents?" "No, your master, owner, boss, whatever." My younger son then comes in to get me and relays what's happening. I'm still kind of disbelieving and think he surely misunderstood. My older son just ignored her while she waited and resumed his yard work. I walk out and say, "Hello, ma'am. How can I help you?" "I need to talk to their owner." She points at my sons. "I'm their mother. What's the issue?" "Who is their owner? I want to speak with them." "They don't work here, lady. This isn't a business. These are my sons." Karen still doesn't seem to understand that I am the mistress of the house, also referred to in 2020 as the homeowner. At this point, my husband, who is Caucasian, comes out of the house to see what's happening. Karen then says to my husband, "Sir, hi, I was wondering if you would allow your workers to come do my yard." My husband, who's not been apprised of what the hell is actually happening but realizes something is definitely not right, says, "Hi, ma'am, these are my sons. They live here. Is something wrong?" Karen then seems to finally realize what's happening and mumbles something of an apology to my husband only, then gets back in her car and leaves. But wait, there's more. About an hour later, 2 police officers, 2 separate squad SUVs show up at our door, lights flashing and weirdly parked blocking the street. My husband answers the door, and the officer explains to him that they got a complaint that there was a burglary in progress. My older son provided them with her vehicle description and license plate. He was smart enough to note, sensing she would be trouble. The officers explained they've gotten several neighborhood watch calls about her. Apparently, she drives around our neighborhood trying to hire handymen, lawn workers for cheap. Kind of reminds me of Dwight Schrute and looking for un bueno worker. Okay, so I work here, right? I told my wife about this subreddit, and she doesn't have an account, but invited me to post this for her. She's been telling this story for a few years. If for this or any other reason it doesn't fit here, then do what you will. I think it's an awesome story. It was several Christmases ago, and my wife was at Target trying to buy a video game for my son. The electronics counter was swamped with customers, and there was only this one poor teenager working the desk who was fairly clueless. So she was patiently waiting her turn to get the game she wanted released from the locked display cabinet. Some random lady turned to her and complained, "Hey, we were here before those people," pointing to the folks that were currently being assisted. My wife shrugged in reply. Someone else said to her, "They really should have a numbered ticketing system here." My wife agreed with the idea. Finally, someone wondered out loud why she wasn't on the other side of the counter helping with customers. Then she realized she was wearing beige slacks and a red shirt, and everyone there assumed she was an employee. Being a longtime teacher at a nonprofit educational preschool, her instincts clicked into place immediately. "Okay, everybody, form a single file line down this aisle." She quickly organized the shopping queue as everyone there obeyed her commands like she was some sort of retail drill sergeant. She put herself at the front of the line and, like magic, became the next customer to be waited on. By the time anyone figured out what had happened, she'd had the game bought, paid for, and was out the door. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.